Hey, I'm Dean, and this is Legacy Voyage. In season one, I'm documenting my journey to earning my first 100K net worth as a full time college student. Join me as I share some of the lessons I learned along the way. Today, I want to share a story. I think I'm going to call it the work over talent story. And it's how I thought we were champions, but we went 1-3. Now, probably everyone knows by now that I play rugby. And if you don't know, rugby is basically football, but you throw the ball backwards. Super fun sport, man. I love me some rugby. And I started playing ever since I was little because it's really in the culture, Tongan culture, where everyone's just either playing a sport, and rugby is one of them. And I've always been into rugby, and I've always been, I think, not that I'm naturally super gifted at it, but I've always been, um, I think I've been talented with it. It's one of the talents that I have is rugby and being able to see the field and know where the players are, being able to pass the ball. I definitely have a lot more to work on for sure, but I think that's one of the talents that I have personally. And so I'm out here for college playing rugby, and then we're preparing for a big tournament. Not a huge tournament, but it's a big tournament, and I'm really trying to win this tournament. But before the tournament, we go on spring break, and on spring break, man, I was just relaxing, chilling, eating, grubbing. It was I was not stressed out about the tournament because I was like, I'll just do whatever I want, and then I'll pull up to the tournament and then go off anyways because I'm just that dude. I'm that dude. I was wrong. So I do that, come back from spring break, pull up to the tournament, and I'm feeling myself, man. It's a big day, getting ready to beat some teams. I thought we were champions, man. We had such a good lineup. So I pull up, and then first kickoff comes, and I'm gassed. Man, I run, and I am absolutely gassed. And that's when I realized that, bro, I was so wrong. I remember I was on a phone call, a networking call a while back, and one of the things that he said was it was with the guy who owns a solar company down in Hawaii. And I remember one of the things he said was work will always beat talent. He said he'd rather have a bunch of people who know how to work rather than a bunch of A players. And that's something that I kind of didn't really understand because why would you want people who work rather than people who are A players? A players are amazing, but he said that A players are entitled and they become complacent and they start complaining. And that's really what I was. I was entitled that, I deserved to win the game because I was talented at rugby. What I didn't realize is that talent means nothing if you're not willing to put the work in. Because I can be the most talented rugby player in the world, but if I just slack on my health and slack on everything, then I would not even be able to stand up, like not even be able to walk or run. So that was the huge lesson that I learned is that I need to start putting in the work and putting in the effort because if I don't do that, then my talent doesn't even matter. So that was something that I wanted to share. And I think the way I'm gonna keep on doing this podcast is I just realized it. I want to really get good at telling stories and being good at storytelling because I think that's a huge part of communication and then being able to sell people, being able to lead people, being able to teach people because telling stories is that's what people connect to and that's what how people relate to you. So every day from now on, I'm going to be telling a story, and then after I tell a story, I'm going uh, to just give a little life update. So that's how I think the rest of this podcast will go. It'll be me telling a story and then just giving a little life update. So I guess the life update for me today is that, man, I haven't been talking for a while, so I guess talk about the classes that I'm taking. I'm taking stats, philosophy, religion, and history, pirate history class. Man, the classes over here are actually super interesting. My philosophy class especially, super interesting. And the religion class actually. We read this one book. It was talking about how Jesus was this superstar businessman. Like he was a genius at marketing. He was a genius at leading his people. The fact that he went from a small town in Nazareth to getting his message all across the world, like even today, it's literally all across the world, millions and millions and millions of people who are Christians. And I was thinking about that. I was like, man, that's actually so true. I think because I've been going through a whole bunch of marketing courses and then really applying the stuff that I've been learning to Jesus's life. He's literally done all of it. Like he's created this huge mass movement. He's created and brought together a whole bunch of followers, and then from that, he just. So I think I'm gonna read that book. The book is called "The Man No One Knows." I forgot who wrote it, but I'm definitely gonna take a look at that book and then see what insights I can get from that. But there's that, and then man, I've been on the search for a mic because I want like a casual mic that I can take around anywhere I go, and then just record a podcast. The audio is a lot better. But another thing I was thinking about is doing an interviewing podcast where I would be able to interview a whole bunch of people. But the thing that I can't really decide on is what to interview people on and the type of people I want to interview. Because I've been thinking I could either interview a whole bunch of Evan scholars, because there are some successful Evan scholars out there for sure, or interview Polynesians, which is really, I think Polynesians are the people I want to serve the most. But I'm thinking of just calling it like a success philosophy of success podcast, or or success voyage podcast, something like that. We'll see. We'll see. Another thing I've been thinking about is changing my major. I think econ. I'm not sure about econ, but a philosophy major would be super interesting because low key, I for real think you could apply philosophy to literally every aspect of life. Literally, like you could apply it to religion, you could apply it to ethics, you could apply it to logic. And the thing that I've been thinking about, and I don't think I've heard it a lot, is that you can apply philosophy to success. And the questions I would look at there is, what is success to you? What what would your a successful life be? How do you become successful? And then the mindsets that you would need to be successful. Because listening to Alex Hormozy and Russell Brunson and all these big time entrepreneurs is that they believe things that aren't necessarily true. For example, one of the big things that they always talk about is you never want to blame your circumstances or blame anyone else outside of you. Because if you do that, then you take all the power out of yourself. And that seems it even if it is true. Like, for example, a lot of people do believe that the government is holding people of color down, and they don't want people of color to succeed. Even if that actually is the case, you shouldn't believe that because you're taking the power out of yourself and then you're putting that in the government. Well, at least that's what Alex Hormozy believes, and that's honestly what I believe as well, is that you shouldn't be giving other people your power, even if it is the government trying to push you down. It's not a helpful or a practical belief for you to hold for you to become successful. And that's what I believe right now. But I seriously do think philosophy of success is a super interesting topic. And not only that, but philosophy of health. Like, what does it mean to be healthy? What is healthy to you? Because what I was thinking about is, can you be fat and healthy? Because I think that is possible for someone to be overweight or slightly overweight and still be healthy. And it's also possible for someone to be shredded, like six pack abs, huge muscles, but for them to be unhealthy. Well, that's another thing that I wanted to explore. But I'll definitely tell more stories in the next coming days because I want to really get good at telling stories. But that's everything I have for today. Uh, See you in the next episode. Tao Toxio.